Welcome to today's episode of Spill Your Beans. I'd like to introduce our guest, Brian Harder. Brian, how are you?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Just noticing, you got a logo on your shirt there.
Yeah, it's the Fraser Valley Labor Council, which is the union organization for all the different unions, basically from Abbotsford out to Boston Bar.
Boston Bar.
And in between.
That big of an area?
Yeah, it's a good size.
So you manage all that, or?
Well, it's a forum. The Labor Council is a forum for all the all the unions to come together and sort of share what's going on in their particular work sites. And sometimes we band together and go deal with different employers, or we'll have different rallies or different causes we go after based on what the membership want to do.
Okay. Now, labor, unions. Give me some history about unions.
Well, I mean, Labor Day started in 1872. It started actually with a strike protest back then, and it was illegal to hold protests in Canada at the time. And the Typographical Union had 24 of their members jailed for forming a protest.
Is it illegal everywhere? Like when I say everywhere, I mean other countries to protest, or was it just
back then? Not in all the countries, no, but in Canada it still was. Most of the civilized nations, it was legal back then, but it wasn't in Canada until I think it was somewhere in the 1880s that John A. Macdonald legalized it.
So 1872 was the first rally or parade, and then people were jailed, obviously because they were disrupting, and then I guess the laws were changed in between?
The laws were changed, and unions were no longer illegal, and you were allowed to strike and protest. So
what initiated the change in the rules? Or we were talking earlier about getting them out of jail.
So the 24 got put in jail, and it brought a lot of other unions on board because it brought the issue up and focused everybody really. And so they protested on Parliament Hill, and that forced the political pressure, forced John A. Macdonald to change the laws to make it legalized for unions.
Now, I know I did some digging on that same story. So the issue was 58-hour work weeks?
58-hour work weeks.
What were they trying to get down from, you think? It didn't say.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, there used to be 60, 80-hour work weeks.
So they were fighting, so they only had to work 58 hours a week. What are we at now? 40 hours
We're at 40
full-time?
hours, yeah.
Wow, imagine that.
Yeah.
So they're fighting, so they only have to work 58 hours a week.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's important. People have to, I mean, it's a constant fight, actually, because you'll get employers that want longer shifts now, and they don't want to compensate people extra for doing it, and it's hard on people's lives. Obviously, not only their work life, but their family life.
I remember in one of their writings, they said, we're fighting for equal 8 hours for work, 8 hours for leisure, and 8 hours for rest.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be the day, and that's how they kind of proposed the idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and today we still battle it. Like I say, because you have people getting injured at work sometimes because of fatigue. Right. They don't get the time to sleep. By the time you take the amount somebody works, and the amount somebody travels, I mean, you think we're out here in Abbotsford. Somebody works in Vancouver. There's 8 hours of work.
Yeah.
Plus generally a half-hour unpaid lunchtime, plus an hour and a half to 2 hours of travel. So there's not much time for leisure.
I'm putting you on the spot. Do you think people should get paid for travel time? I guess that's a choice we make, the job we choose.
Well, it's interesting, you know. A friend of mine works at a place, and it's a non-union place. And the owner came to them 2 months ago and said, look, we're going to change you from 8 hours to 6.5 hours. We expect you to come to work, no more chit chat. We just want you to come to work. But he's read studies that say it's more productive to work straight 6.5, still get a lunch break, and he pays them for 8. So he sees a value in it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, a happy employee works harder, is more efficient, and the end product turns out better.
Absolutely.
And now I have noticed it here as well.
Yeah.
So
you take care of your employees take care of your clients, your customers, and make sure you put out a good product.
All right. Now, as a union, how has workplace environments improved with the integration of unions?
Well, I mean, if you start at the very beginning, there used to be child labor everywhere. And nowadays, obviously, you don't get children working in factories. You don't in Canada, right? You'll see safety has improved. We still kill and injure way too many people, but it's a lot better than what it was. There's more focus now on long term. I mean, when I was younger, I'm an electrician by trade. I used to clean my hands in PCBs because nobody knew anything was wrong with that.
Exactly.
But nobody would do that today.
No, no.
Right? I mean, at the end of my electrical career, I was suited up and geared to take out PCBs, and I learned how dangerous they were. Right?
Yeah.
And so you have more of that. There's more that can be done, and it's an ongoing battle, because even when we get the rights, and even when the laws come in, you have to have enforcement. You have to have somebody to make sure that it's lived up to. And that's one of the challenges for non-union now, is you might think you have the rights, but trying to enforce them is very difficult.
Okay. Here's a question. The work environment, now you said it's hard to manage and enforce. So if a company is non-union, can a union walk in and say, hey, you're unsafe standards, or is there another governing body that would come do that?
It falls to, for safety, it falls to WCB.
Workers' comp.
In everything but mining. In BC, it's for all provincial regulated, it's WCB. In mines, it's the Mines Act. And then there's the federal, for federally regulated.
Okay, what about employee? He's at a non-union job and finds there's unfair treatment or unsafe job work environment. Is there anything they can do?
Well, the union can't step in and represent them, but they can go to employment standards. The problem with the challenge, I guess I'd say, with employment standards is that they've made it where it's a sort of more of a kiosk, and they put all the onus on the worker to go challenge their boss.
Oh.
And I mean, I use the example, my own daughter worked at a gas station, and they were expected to work 15 minutes over and not get paid. And if somebody did a gas and dash, it came out of their pocket. And when she quit, tried to go to employment standards, but she couldn't get any support from them to do it. They just kept going back and say, talk to your boss. And of course he says no. I mean, he would say it in different words.
Yeah.
But the action was there was no compensation.
Now that's kind of doesn't make sense, because if you want to fight something, you have to approach your boss, or your boss would just let you go.
Yeah,
If the one person stirring the pot would be like, hey, the pot doesn't need stirring, see you.
And that's exactly it. And that's why, I mean, in a union environment, if the boss lets you go and you go to a third-party arbitration and you get reinstated because they were wrongful dismissal, you not only get your compensation back, you get your job back. In a non-union environment, all you can get is compensation, which doesn't necessarily make up for your lost living.
Wow. All right. Now, we were talking about a story earlier, and I liked where it went. Can we bring up, say, the lumber industry? All right. Now, we had talked about taking away jobs. So how do we improve or get more jobs?
Well, I mean, in the lumber industry, I say the low-hanging fruit is stop exporting logs. So if you go back to the early 2000s, about 300,000 or 400,000 cubic meters of logs were logged per year, or were exported out of BC. Today, half the logs cut on the coast of BC, which is about 7 million cubic meters, is exported overseas. And they're the higher grade logs. They're the better quality logs than the ones that go through the mills in BC. And it's gone up each year. So on the coast, there's about a little over 14 million cubic meters cut. 50% of that gets exported. And it's a result of the change in the philosophy, I'll say, from the government in the early 2000s. For decades, through multiple governments, we had what's called the social contract. And what that meant, that in order to access trees that were owned by the people of BC, the companies had to provide jobs in the province of BC. That requirement was removed by the Campbell government in the early 2000s. And it's just continued, the log exports has continued to grow.
Can anything be done about that?
The government can change it just like they did. Now they did it under the guise that it would help us with the softwood lumber dispute with the states.
The guys, not as in guys, us
No.
guys, but the G.
The disguise.
This guys, all right. All right.
Yeah, and so I honestly think that if they stop the log exports, there's 3 mills in the Lower Mainland that run one shift because of lack of logs.
Well, look around you. We
Look
have
around.
Makes no
Exactly.
sense.
And
Kind of angers you, no?
Oh, it makes me very
If you
frustrated.
think about it, you're taking good earned jobs here. People are trained for it. You've got mills set up to actually work this.
Yeah.
But no, we're going to send it over, get it built for cheap, and then sell it.
It actually goes to Japan, it'll go to China, it'll go to the States. See, right, because there's a tariff in the States. So if you take a log here and you ship it to the States, it costs you don't pay any premium for it going out. If you take that same log and cut it into 2x4s and ship them to the States, you pay a 15% surcharge at least on that 2x4.
So they can buy a log, take it there, and do whatever they want
Yes.
to. But if we do anything, it's considered a usable product.
Right.
And
then-
for that,
so we pay the 15%.
so we have to provide them with jobs by giving them raw wood, and then they get to make whatever they want out of
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Okay.
So we're providing outsourcing jobs.
Yes, we're outsourcing jobs, and they should be here. Instead of looking for LNG jobs that are make-believe,
Yeah.
right? There's real jobs in the forest that can be there.
Okay, we're not attacking the government as of yet, but the LGN make-believe. Well, I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah. No,
There's been
nor
a
have
lot
I.
of this going on, but
A lot of talking, but no.
well, I'm not
no
going to put you on
action.
the spot on this one. If you want to share anything, you're more than
Well,
welcome.
no, I just think there's no action.
Yeah.
Right. It's
It's a dream.
a dream.
It's giving hope where something isn't. Yeah.
Isn't
And this
there.
government won't be in existence by the time anything happens.
That's
I
right.
don't think.
No.
Okay, we're going off topic on that one, but now I'm getting angry. You know what? I think we'll cut away to a commercial here,
Sure.
and we'll come back and lighten the mood up. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Brian. Well, welcome back. And sorry about going to break there. I was starting to get a little angry with the topic we had chosen. So we're going to lighten the mood here. Labor Day, rest of the world, does it exist?
Labor Day exists in the rest of the world. Most outside of North America, it's May 1st.
May 1st.
And in Canada and the U.S., it's on the first Monday of September.
Okay. And do you know why, or is it just
Well,
random?
it kind of got pushed here to the September because in the rest of the world it's thought of more of the workers' more communist sort of perspective. And so it was to push it away from that perspective. It's also the end of the summer. It's sort of the wrap up the last big weekend, and
well,
that's where it fit.
That's what I thought it was for.
Yeah.
I thought it was just to
Yeah.
let the kids know, hey, this is your last long weekend. School's on its way, and
Starts the week short.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where it is at.
And then you're not allowed to wear white or something after Labor Day.
I hear you're not supposed to wear white pants and white shoes, but I'm not sure.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think it's something from the southern states, but
Really? We won't
Just
get
doesn't
into
look
that.
good.
I'll have to do my homework on that one. All right, all right. Okay, so Labor Day does exist the rest of the world, and just here, September, and first Monday of September.
First Monday of
and
September.
May 1st is the rest of the world.
that's right.
Okay, well, why don't we get into what you do, like your shirt there and where your offices are, how you can help the regular Canadian worker.
So the Labor Council, it holds meetings the third Wednesday of every month at the Abbotsford District Teachers Hall in Abbotsford at 7 o'clock, and the doors are actually open. Anybody can come in. If we're getting into a vote, only delegates can vote, but guests are always welcome.
Do
And
guests have a say?
they can ask for a say. In this Labor Council, I run it very relaxed, so yeah, I've never had a guest who couldn't ask a question and talk.
great.
And we share what's going on in the labor movement.
That's just right here, like on Tim Street?
On
Abbotsford?
Cyril Avenue.
Yeah, okay, okay.
And,
So in Abbotsford, Wednesdays,
Every third Wednesday of the month, it starts at 7 o'clock.
All right, well, we'll
We
find...
don't meet in July, and we don't meet in August. And you can see the meeting schedule right at Fraser Valley Labor Council, fvlc.ca. We'll get you there.
We'll get all that information and put it on our screen and everything for
Yeah,
you.
okay.
Now, how often is your office open?
Well, the office actually isn't open. We don't have a standalone office. We're not a big enough labor council for that. But if you go to you can contact me through the webpage, and if you've got an issue or problem or your question, just give me a call and I'll talk to you.
Perfect.
Help you out.
And these would be addressed by phone. Can they write?
They can email. There's my emails on there, or they can phone me directly. It's my cell phone.
Say an employee a worker has something they want to bring up or share with you, is it just a cold call good, or should they document? Should they start writing things and noting things down?
If you've got an issue, you should always document it.
Yeah.
And take the time, if there's any witnesses or anything like that. But if they're not sure of anything, just give me a call and I'm more than willing to help them out, whether union or non-union. I mean, we represent everybody. We're funded, I guess, from the labor movement, but the Labor Council, the Labor Movement, the CLC, Canadian Labour Congress, all work for all workers. That's how all workers get maternity benefits, they get parental benefits. Right now we're into a campaign to try and improve the Canadian pension plan. Right?
Why don't you get into that?
Yeah. Well, right now it's 25% of your, it's a max of 25% of your income. And, if you go back to the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, all the large companies had pension plans, defined pension plans. Today, less and less companies have defined pension plans, and less people work at the same place for a long period of time, their whole career.
Before we get into that, say an average Canadian that's looking to get a pension, how long do I have to work before it even kicks anything?
I believe it's 5 years for the Canadian pension plan,
Okay.
and then it's based on your contribution rates. And it's a max this year of, I believe, $54,000 a year income. So it's your contributions are up to that. And
So if somebody made $100,000, you're only counting 54,000.
they're only counting 54,000. They're contributing as if they made 54,000, and that means they'll get 25% of 54,000.
Okay. So, and that's changing, I hear.
Well, we're hoping to. The federal Liberals, when they got elected, promised to look at it. They brought all the finance ministers together earlier this year because it has to be agreed to by the majority of the provinces. The provinces all signed off in principle, and then BC is to date has not signed off. They were supposed to do it, I believe, by in July, and Christy Clark has stopped it. And so we're hoping they're going to change their mind, and we're going to be talking to them about doing that.
Oh, stop right there. You said stopped it. Now, is it just sitting in a pile somewhere where it hasn't been looked at, or has it been looked at and said, no, we're not doing it?
Don't know.
Okay.
We don't know. It's, the rest of the provinces all thought it was a good idea, and when you think of young people moving from job to job, that's the plan that follows them from job to job.
Now, we don't know. Let's try and see on the government side. Why would they not want to improve this?
Well, because for them, it's the big business don't want to put more into your pension plan. It is money.
So their pocketbooks and
Yeah,
taxpayer money. Now, let's think on the government side here. Why would they not, like all the other provinces have gone on board, why would we not go on board?
Well, I think it's all about protecting the business side, right? Because it is about, to increase benefits, costs money. And the plan is to put some worker money in, right? And so instead of putting money into an RSP, you put it into the Canadian pension plan. The companies would obviously have to contribute their fair share into the pension plan. So it's about dollars and cents, and but you have to do this in order for people to be able to retire.
No,
Because unless someone's going to work to the day they die, which is not what should happen in Canada.
no.
It shouldn't happen anywhere in the world,
I
for
was
that
a
matter.
banker for a few years there. We won't get into the history of what I did,
Yeah.
but when people walk into a bank, they're not walking in and say, hey, I got $1 million, take it.
Yeah.
They're walking in is because I overspent, or I need
Absolutely.
to refinance, remortgage. And this isn't like 20, 30, 40-year-olds. This is 55, 60-year-olds walking into a bank to refinance. Like,
It's-
this should not be happening.
It is forced retirement or forced savings, but in general you have to do that because when people are deciding, should I go out for dinner or should I put it in my Canada pension plan? When they're 30, quite often people say, let's go for dinner, right? But it has a long-term effect, and you can only fix it by starting when you're younger and changing the program.
So start saving younger on your own. Don't rely on any programs, any governments. Rely on yourself. All right. This is what I'm getting here.
Well, I think it's you support changes in the Canada pension plan because then that money will be there. You will also have to save additional money for yourself.
Now, one thing I just got is it just clicked, and we were asked earlier. It's like, so this isn't the government improving taxpayer money. This is money coming out of corporate pockets to contribute to your CPP fund. So
That's correct.
it's them matching your contributions. So they're protecting corporation.
Yeah, there's no government money involved in the CPP.
No taxpayer money, no government. This is corporation money.
Right.
This is who you work for.
That's right.
Ooh, it makes me even more angry.
Yeah, no, they should be paying. I mean, a person works 40 years in the country,
So
you
you
should be able to
Ooh,
live.
You think this is an offset to 58-hour work weeks down to 40-hour work weeks?
Yeah, now, well, back in
Hey.
58 years, yeah, well, when it was 58 hours,
Yeah.
you didn't have Canada pension.
You don't have anything.
You didn't get to retire.
No. And you're fighting for a 58-hour work
Yeah.
week. So think how far we've made it.
Yeah.
Like we're sitting here in a comfy chair, 40 hours a week, overtime, banked hours, and we're unhappy. We need more money. We're trying to save more. So imagine the work environment then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and it was horrific.
Pretty lucky what we have today, you guys. If you travel the rest of the world in third world countries, life is difficult. So I'm not putting my country down in any way here. We are trying to make it better, but there's still lots to improve on.
There's always things that can be improved on, for
Yeah,
sure. We have to
absolutely.
bring the bottom up, and the labor movement works to protect everybody's rights, and not only union members but non-union members, and make sure that the laws apply to everybody fairly.
Okay, well, I'm not going to end this here. I'm going to push this forward, hopefully have you back again. But let's talk about how can we improve the CPP law? How can this change or be accepted in BC here?
Well, I think it's as simple as contacting your MLA.
Why don't we
If
tell
you-
the
if you-
audience
If
here,
you
like-
contact your MLA and tell them it's important, and you can either email them or you can phone them, and just tell them that you think that they should sign off on the CPP, that itself will have a great effect. It's not a lot of work. It's simply a phone call or an email.
So we can talk about it all we want, but until the people, you,
People put
the
the pressure.
audience, go and do something about it, we can only just talk about it. Like, sure, I can talk about it to my boss. Well, no, I don't have a boss, but you know what I mean. So it's up to you. If you want to make a difference, change the CPP, have more coming back from your employers, make that stand, right?
Future, it's your future. It's in your hands.
Now, since we're talking about you guys and helping in the future, give me a total plug of where you're located and your website. I know, is there a phone number they can be contacted at?
So it's the Fraser Valley Labor Council, and it's fvlc.ca. You can contact me directly at 604-341-6382. And we don't have an office at this point. There may be one in the future, but not at this point. But just call me direct, and we can set up a meeting.
Well, I think every office can be his office.
Yes.
You need something, you give him a call. Look, I called him. He's here out of his own long weekend to talk about this and make a difference. So thank you so much, Brian, for being here today and talking about Labor Day. I think I've got a little more knowledge, and hopefully we've lit a fire under you guys to say you can make a difference. On that note, thanks for tuning in.